Welcome into the 0-1 Broncos Breakdown. The Raiders make it 7 in a row against the Broncos. They win 17-16, and I did not expect this. I was a big believer in Denver winning in Week 1, but ultimately a Will Lutz missed extra point proved to be the difference maker. So we're going to kind of recap this game. We have some injury news to get to. I really want to talk about Russell Wilson because I saw a lot of encouraging things out of number 3. But we can kind of run through the final stats from this 17-16 loss. Jimmy G was 20 for 26. That really shows. He was hardly pressured. 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, and then that one red zone interception picked off by Kareem Jackson. Josh Jacobs was contained. 19 carries for 48 yards. But Jakobi Meyers, who took a very scary hit at the end of the game, he put Damari Mathis in an absolute blender. And we're going to circle back to Mathis later on. 9 grabs, 81 yards, and 2 touchdowns. As for Denver, 27 for 34, 177 yards, and 2 touchdowns for Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson was on fire. The accuracy, something that was sorely missed last year, was very much present this year. Now, I didn't see a lot of patented Sean Payton shots down the field. There were a couple instances where Denver was at midfield, and I thought, hey, this could be a chance where they go deep to Marvin Mims or something. Nope, they just ran it with Javonte Williams, which Javonte Williams, 13 carries for 52 yards. Smaje Perine, 4 grabs for 37 yards. Could have been a lot longer. If he doesn't step out of bounds, the game could be a lot different if Philip Dorsett does not step out of bounds. But ultimately, 17-16, I hate the fact that Denver scored 16 points. The jokes write themselves. You know that Hackett is grinning ear to ear on the different coasts at the moment. But Denver comes up short, and I want to know, starting off 0-1 is the worst thing in the world. As a sports fan, the only thing worse than being 0-1 is 0-2. So are you worried after the loss, or are you looking at this going, hey, this was a team that won 5 games last year. 1-point loss to the Raiders on Week 1 is something we can work on, right? Is something we can build off of. The Commanders come to town next week. Get back to 500 football before going on a little road trip to Miami and Chicago. I'm not too worried after the loss. I'm more sad. I'm just sad. I didn't want to lose to the Raiders. I hate the Raiders. And we're going to talk about the injury news and all that stuff, including Caden Stearns, Russell Wilson. We also have a fun sponsor on today's show. But Sam, should we hit the injury news first here? Caden Stearns carted off the field with a knee injury. He looked very emotional being carted off. So Denver couldn't decide between Stearns and Jackson, and for the wrong circumstances, the decision has been made for them. It looks like it could be a very major knee injury. Stearns definitely indicated that in just his body language. I'm filming this before the Sean Payton press conference, so maybe he'll give a further diagnosis, but my suspicion is Sean Payton will come out and say it's a serious knee injury, but he was carted off the field as a result, and that was pretty much the big injury note of the game. That and Jakobi Meyers taking a big shot at the end, but he was able to help get off the field. Some other stats I want to share with everyone here. Denver's offense against the Raiders. 260 total yards, 166 pass yards, 94 rushing yards. There were some big plays. This was not a game where Denver couldn't get the big play. You know what I mean? They got the big play. To Brandon Johnson, to Smaje Perine, to Javonte Williams. There were chunks of yardage being ripped off. Ultimately, they got 2 red zone touchdowns, and they never really found themselves back towards the red zone again. The fourth quarter, Denver had all the opportunities. They had a chance to make a defensive stop to win the game. Couldn't do it. They had a chance on offense to go down and take the lead. Couldn't do it. Both sides folded under the pressure in the fourth quarter, and that's got to change. Russell Wilson, though. Let's talk about number 3. He was 27 for 34, 177 yards, 2 touchdowns. Absolutely beautiful touchdown passes in the red zone, right? First to little Jordan Humphrey, then to Cortland Sutton. He's a moving piece. The receiver's a moving target. Tight window, and he threads the needle on both passes. Russell Wilson was way better than what we saw last year. Maybe not right where we wanted to be at, 177 yards and 2 touchdowns. Very good starting numbers, but definitely improved. Can we all agree? Russell Wilson looked better. And I know that I have been a critical analyst of Russell Wilson, and I'm very happy to see him play well because that's what's best for this team. Now, what's best for everyone watching is to make sure they subscribe to the channel because no one's going to have you in the loop like we do here at the Broncos Breakdown. So subscribe, Send it to a friend if you're already subscribed. Let me know how long you've been subscribed, but make sure you join the channel if you have not already. Javonte Williams, and what I'll call his return, because preseason football doesn't count, 13 carries, 52 yards. We got a good amount of usage out of number 33. He had some good carries. He had some good touches. Overall, might not be a fantasy football winner, but I don't think anyone comes out of this game thinking, Javonte Williams, I don't know if he's got it anymore. He was making cuts. He was shedding tackles. He was a bowling ball. Just couldn't quite have the big, tremendous run, but he still was picking up good, healthy dosage of yardage, I felt like, every time. Smaje Perine, meanwhile, 8 carries, 41 rushing yards, 37 receiving yards. So we're seeing a good balance, not quite 50-50 like it was in Williams' first year, but more that 60-40, 55-45 split. As for some other receiving leaders, you had Adam Trotman, the guy Denver traded for during the draft for New Orleans. 5 grabs, 34 yards. If only he got that 1 first down. And then Courtland Sutton, 4 receptions for 32 yards and 1 touchdown. So overall, there were a lot of good things from some players that had big question marks coming into this game, like Courtland Sutton, like Russell Wilson. I mean, Courtland Sutton with 1 touchdown, that's half the amount of touchdowns he had all of last year. So I liked a lot of things that I saw, but you didn't get that pass rush. And I'm going to talk more about the defense and more about the pass rush in just a moment. But today's show is made possible thanks to our new partner, Game Time. With killer deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee, you can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped for the fun you're going to have. Now, Game Time's got so many great features to it. I personally used it to go to a college football game last weekend between UNC and South Carolina, and Game Time gave us $20 off. So that basically got me my first drink at the game, thanks to Game Time. So Game Time is the place for last-minute tickets. Forget planning months in advance. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. You can actually get exclusive flash deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. Also, you can see what your seats look like. So there's no surprises when you get to the arena or get to the stadium and you know what you're going to be looking at, because Game Time's got an awesome bird eye view from every single seat in the stadium. So download the Game Time app today, create an account, use that promo code Broncos Chat for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, but once again, download the Game Time app, promo code Broncos Chat for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Lowest price guaranteed for last-minute tickets. Let's talk about the Raiders' offense. 260 yards, 200 pass yards, 60 rushing yards. They had the 1 interception in the red zone. Ultimately, I feel like this game comes down to Denver's lack of pass rush. They never got to Jimmy Garoppolo, and that was magnified on the last 3rd and 7, where you had to get to Jimmy G. A sack would have potentially pushed him out of field goal range, right? At least got it to a dicey field goal. They pass on 3rd and 7. Potentially a gift to the defense, because an incomplete pass stops the clock and Denver gets to save their last timeout. But ultimately, Garoppolo scrambles. Pressure does not get to him, and he picks up the first down with his legs. 20 for 26. He had all the time in the world in the pocket. Denver's pass rush by a committee this year, no one showed up to work today. No one punched in, right? Frank Clark jumped off sides at one point. Didn't see a whole lot from Randy Gregory. Never felt like Jonathan Cooper was just a fingernail away from taking down Jimmy G. Pass rush was nowhere to be found. Give credit to where credit is due. The Raiders' offensive line might not have created a lot of rushing lanes for Josh Jacobs, but the laundry man has to not clean Jimmy Garoppolo's jersey. Jacobs, though, 19 carries, 48 yards. That was fun to see. I actually enjoyed that part of the game because Jacobs has been a Denver Broncos killer. And today, in his first game back, since last year, of course, but missed all the preseason, didn't quite look like the reigning NFL rusher. Denver's defense did a good job on the run-stopping department. So, Broncos defense, first game under Vance Joseph as DC back in Denver. Some positive things, some things to work on. Pass rush, definitely something to work on. Damari Mathis, what was that? I mean, penalty after penalty, cooked after cook. Damari Mathis, this starting job of yours will not last at this rate. That much I guarantee. I don't know if Riley Moss is any better or if Riley Moss has looked like the world's worst cornerback in practice. But after this game, you have to believe there will be some competition at CB2 opposite of Pat Surtain, because Damari Mathis not getting the job done. And there were lots of instances like this last year. He was very fluky, and that was fine. He was a corner. He came off the bench when Ronald Darby went down. We could all make some sense of it. This year, not the case. Not happening. Will Lutz, you kind of cost the game. Not to be dramatic, but you missed an extra point. Denver lost by 1. You make the extra point, Denver goes to overtime. Ipso facto, right? Maybe not. I mean, the Raiders were in field goal range too. Missed a field goal too, I forgot. Missed a 50-yarder. I was too focused on the shorter one to forget about the longer miss. So I think Brett Maher was 0 for 2 last I heard, but very long misses for the Rams today. I told you guys when they traded for Will Lutz, I did not like the move. I wanted Brett Maher over Will Lutz. Now, I want to be wrong. I don't want to be right over Denver being successful, but very frustrated by this kicking performance. So to wrap up the video, grade the Broncos' performance against the Raiders, A, B, C, D, or F. I give it a C+. I feel like that's generous. I was so encouraged by the accuracy from Russell Wilson. I want to be more optimistic coming out of this game than maybe your average Joe is. So I'll go with C+, but C feels appropriate too, or maybe even C-. But let me know what your letter grade is down below.